Show. Hey, welcome to the Showmap Show. My name is Sage, and here on the Showmap Show, we celebrate startup culture, what people are up to, and mental health. And guess what? We have some amazing guests from Vancouver, and they're going to Cinnabon, which is so cool. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell people what you do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your hospitality. My name's David McEown. I'm a Canadian landscape painter. Specialize in watercolor, and I've been painting professionally for about 30 years and traveled the world, specialize in polar regions. But I just realized this month that this is the 30th year that I've been painting in the Canadian Rockies. So wow. I thought it's a time to come back and finally share it with Daisy here, some of our favorite places and explore new ones. So yeah.
We are so happy you came back. I get to meet you. The community now on the Showmap Show gets to meet you, which is super cool.
Nice.
And your artwork is just amazing. What's your favorite paintings you've done around here, and how can people find you?
Oh gosh, well my website is artistjourneys.com or davidmceown.com. I mean, it's amazing how social media, Instagram, all that, it's just amazing how we can reach a world. So that's the best place to find me. As far as favorite places, I mean, anywhere in the Canadian Rockies, I think there's really special. Banff has a special place for me because it's like family. You meet people from around here, but it's just the topography, the flora, fauna, the seasonal changes from the autumn to spring breakup. Oh, I have so many memories. It's impossible, to say
totally fair.
what's the most amazing place. But the classic places like Moraine Lake, Bow Lake,
yes.
Banff, and up the Icefield Parkway. I've been up and down so many times.
And because you just came back, are you planning to hit and see how much it's melted too?
Well, we were just talking. I mean, in 1991, I painted the Athabasca Glacier. I have photographs. I just was back at my Toronto studio getting slides because we didn't have digital cameras then. But I was just looking at the pictures of my paintings from 30 years ago of that same glacier. And we were there this past October, and to see how much things have changed and receded the glacier. And it's absolutely sobering to realize how fast this is happening. And to document it that's been, Daisy and my own sort of life calling all this time is we've realized we've had this blessing and opportunity to witness this, and it is urgent. And so we've been dedicating ourselves to record that, which has led us from the Rockies to the polar regions, from the North Pole to many seasons in Antarctica. So the Canadian Rockies was one of the starting points of my understanding and experience of ice and painting ice. And then now it's from there I've gone to see the ice caps and the both ends of the planet. But and then you come back here and you see the changes here. It's just such a mind-blowing thing. So we're trying to document it through our films, our paintings, our photography, and witness this and try to raise awareness about maybe what we can do to slow things down, what we're seeing in climate change and those kind of things.
I love your ideas, and even when I go back compared to when I was a kid, it's mind-blowing.
Is that right?
It's just crazy. It's just I remember being this big, and it's just whoa.
Yeah.
But then again, I have grown, so maybe it was just bigger when I was younger.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there's a chance of that.
Scale's
also changed, since you were a kid, for sure. And to even be able to paint that stuff, and the adventures on your Instagram, I've been looking,
cool.
It's amazing what you've been doing, getting out there, and you must have some amazing stories and adventures.
Yeah.
And how do you two even meet?
Well, that's a story in itself.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the talking, but maybe I'll take over. But Daisy can take over.
Well,
do you want to start with
sure.
where we met? Why don't you introduce yourself first? I don't know. You better.
I'm Daisy Gilardini. I'm a wildlife photographer who specializes in polar region and bears, North American bears. So I love bears. So I love the Rockies. There is a lot of bears. I love Manitoba, a lot of polar bears, British Columbia, the spear bears. So I've been documenting bears all over the world, but really Canada is a fabulous place.
Wow.
And what a better place to find a husband. originally from Switzerland, and it just took me here, 15 years ago. So we are right here celebrating our 15th anniversary.
Oh my gosh,
Great.
congratulations.
But how did we meet?
But we met on an icebreaker, and the icebreaker is not a website. It's not a meeting website. A real icebreaker.
Russian icebreaker in the
Yeah.
Northwest Passage.
Yeah, we were doing the Northwest Passage, starting from
Whoa.
Russia Far East. We actually met in Providenia for the first time. We met there.
What a story.
Yeah, and then after roughly a weekend trip, we got stuck in the ice.
Oh no.
Literally stuck in the ice for a
He's
full...
probably sitting there painting it too.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's great.
right.
It's the greatest
Yeah.
thing. He's stuck in the ice. Yes.
So I was the photographer in residence, he was the artist in residence, and we had to actually entertain 100 passengers.
Whoa.
So we start working together, organizing workshops, and just get people involved in the art and appreciation of what it means. Like that was year 2006.
Yeah.
What it means to be stuck in the ice, and thinking about the old explorer. We were in a pretty comfortable ship, but thinking back, it was a very, very opening experience. It really opens up your eyes and imagination and creativity. So it was really awesome.
And what did all the guests think about that? And were you like stressed putting it together at the time, or like last minute not expecting it?
Well, let's say some guests really enjoyed the experience, because it's pretty an amazing experience.
Something you'll never forget. Like even
Never.
hearing about it, just like, whoa.
Exactly. I mean, we made the news, the national news.
Whoa.
Yes, and some really did not enjoy the experience, and so there were
It
lawsuits
happens.
going and whatever. But we met, and we really enjoyed the trip.
It's a trip you'll never forget.
No.
Ever.
No.
Exactly.
Oh, that is so sweet, and I love that. And like it's a memory you'll never forget. And the fact that it was like not here, but like somewhere complete, like the traveling story of it. Like not everyone can say that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's more like you marry your high school sweetheart or something like that. No, you went to another
No.
country and
Oh,
like
from different continents.
Yeah,
and-
from
Yeah.
different continents. Yes. Yeah.
that is so cool. And how did you decide you wanted to come to Canada?
Well, that wasn't a very difficult decision. I mean,
There's bears here, so
there was bears here, first of all. There was
You know,
a
yeah.
handsome guy, and
Oh,
in
come on.
Switzerland there isn't that many bears, and the poor guys that come from Italy cross over Switzerland, they're not very lucky, so they don't live long lives in Switzerland. So it was not a no-brainer. So I don't think even we discussed it too much. I said, yeah, I'm coming.
it's like yes, done.
Yeah, done. Yeah.
I
But-
love that.
but I was in-
my eye, I'm gonna pretend I'm crying from your story.
But I was in Toronto at the time, but I could not get a Swiss girl to move to Toronto, so we had the other place in Vancouver, and she would move to Vancouver, but not Toronto. It's a bit flat. We talked
can't
about the
blame you,
Rockies.
it's
We
hard.
talked about the Rockies, but Vancouver, it just became home, and it's close to come here. It's just nice to have the diversity of Western Canada is incredible to satisfy your art, aesthetic values, and so many it's so rich, the diversity. Yeah.
One thing I love about Vancouver is it's so big, so you can really travel there. And on top of that, there's so many people you can connect with. Like that must have been a bonus for you too.
Yeah, you need that is networking, getting our messages out. And we live right on the campus of University of British Columbia in Vancouver, and there's a lot going on there, and so you really can plug in with the science, the art, and stuff like that. But sometimes it gets a bit busy,
But
That's fair.
I think nowadays, anyway, that say that is a great city to live in, and you get amazing contacts. But with social media, I mean, you can reach millions of people in a
it's-
click.
It's so true.
So, and that's so
That's what, you don't
powerful.
need to be in a
So-
city, as long as you have good.
Yeah, as long as you have good internet, you can be
That's
anywhere
true.
in the world and reach out. And especially, it's important on social media nowadays for us to send a message out. We are in a really unique place with climate change and all the things that are going on in the world right now. that we really need positive messages. We need beauty out there, and the beauty we can capture in places like here, Banff and the Rockies, and all over. I mean, there is amazing places all over the world, and we need to get that beauty out so that people are aware of it and do maybe something a little bit about it and to preserve it.
I love how you're trying to like send this amazing positive message forward, help the environment, help people better their day. And like that is just so amazing. And people who are like trying to like start out just like you guys, whether it's watercolor photography, how like would you recommend them starting out or like getting into it? Because you even went on a boat cruise and taught people. Like you must have lots of
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like for me, it's just when you get on, especially with the general public, we're such in a photographic instant gratification snapshot society that to slow down. And when people are on a trip like that, or even when they have some finally time to get into some art, it's really nice to get in the act of seeing and slow down. So yeah, we get them a brush. People are scared of it, but I can take the most beginner person, and we can have some fun. A lot of it has just the identification of some basic composition things, and we can do that. A lot of it's not just talent; it can be taught. Some people are talented, have a color and stuff, but it requires an aptitude to give it a try and stick with it. But good instruction of technique, but also spatial relationships, just learning how to see. And that's what I teach. So on my trips and my workshops, and we can get there pretty fast. It's amazing. And it just changes people's lives, I think, for the good, in the sense that, wow, my whole life, okay, I've been looking at snow, but I never considered the color of it. I never considered those mauves and slight gray hues in it. So when we're looking at it, you should, look at a glacier and not just think of it, climate change, or think of it, I got to get this. This is really cool. I want to blow people away.
Yeah.
No, let's slow down. Look at the color. Take it in the body and just like really taste the different shades of light and dark. Watch the lightness of the cloud moving across it. So it's slowing down, and that's what there's exercise you can do to get people to do that. And that's, for me, has been one of the biggest rewards as being an artist, is not just painting pictures. Art is really important on a wall because it slows people down, but to give people that access to do it themselves, to learn how to see, is just a wonderful gift to help people.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think one thing is really, for me, photography, what I'm really grateful for photography is that it forces me to be there.
That's true.
Be in nature, and to me, when I'm in the field, is really the only time where I'm totally present. I forget about everything else. I forget about social media. I forget about about the bills to pay, about all the problems in the world. When I'm waiting for that bear to do something, I'm just there with the bear,
Wow.
and you become. You really feel like the universe is one thing and you are part of it. While in the everyday lives of most of people, you are so stressed out about, doing your tasks, doing this, I didn't do that and that and that you forget about this big picture, that we're not here on the earth just to, do our stuff. It's just, we're all together. I mean, if the little ants die, well, that's part of the ecosystem. And if you take it away, like unfortunately, a lot of species are disappearing.
It's so true.
Everything's gonna collapse sooner or later, and we see it. We are living it. You just switch on the TV, and it is happening.
It is real.
It is real, And so when you're out there in nature, then everything comes. The big picture comes together, and you feel like so grounded, you feel like, okay, there is a sense in all of this. And that awareness is really what makes you take action and change and influence other people and spread positivity on that side, because there's plenty of negativity in the news.
So true. I can't watch the news for that reason.
We are bombarded. So
stuff.
We really have to overcome that with the beauty. Yeah, and being out, just be outside, and you know, even if you're in a city and you say, well, I'm not as lucky as you guys being with the bears or in the polar region or wherever you extreme places you go, but even in your little balcony, just looking, if you're in a city, looking at the birds, paying attention to the birds.
Exactly.
Or the little insects that, you know, plant the flowers and look it grow in your balcony, or if you don't have a balcony, on your window, but try to connect with the rest of it, and then everything makes more sense. Yeah.
I agree, and it's so nice to see those little things that it makes it real, like, it makes you realize like how lucky you truly are and appreciate the world. Like, I love the message you're putting out there.
Yeah.
And because you've like probably had to get so close to bears to get pictures, or do you like get those like really zoomed in cameras, or how do you do it? Like,
Well, it depends on the species of bears.
that's fair.
Polar bears are carnivores, real carnivores. And,
Yes.
And I use big lenses. But as far as, you know, grizzly bear or brown bears, black bear, spear bear, I had them like a few meters from me.
Whoa.
You know, paying all the respect, being usually in a period where they have a lot of food, and they usually tend to avoid humans. They don't like humans. So if they can, they avoid.
They'll be like, peace out.
Yeah.
No, if you make you present, they always know I'm there. I'm not hiding from a bear. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yes.
I make noise when I go in the forest or when I go to the location where
It's
I
like,
photograph.
hello.
Yeah, I'm here and I'm in peace and I'm just gonna sit down and take picture. And when they realize that you become part of their environment, then they're really peaceful animals. You
Wow.
know? You know, there is very, very few accidents. And I know in the Rockies it happens. And probably people are listening and say, yeah, that's not true.
Scary. You only hear bad things on the
scary.
news.
But, you know, usually accidents happen when a bear is surprised. Maybe it's springtime, they come out of hibernation, they're hungry. But they're not hunters. 80% of a grizzly bear diet is vegetation. People do not know that. They think they are the biggest carnivores in North America.
But they're not.
They're not really carnivores. They're not hunters. They're opportunistic. Of course, if they find an animal that is injured, they're gonna go for it.
Yes.
But they're not gonna stalk like a mountain lion would do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I really pay respect to that. And, you know, I'll do a lot of work with bear awareness in Switzerland, for example, where they really totally don't know what a bear is here. And they totally scared about bears. And they say, no, like having a lion. Well, you know, you really have to know their behavior. And they're also very easy to read. You know, they will let you know that you get too close, or, you know, if they want their space.
And I think we rely on a lot of our guides that have, like, especially First Nation guides, people like that have had a lifetime experience and know the generations of bears. And so I think Daisy works with some of the most amazing guides that know these bears, and that's, so you have to trust, and you have to kind of trust the guide that knows it, that spent the whole lifetime studying the bears. So we kind of piggyback on that. Otherwise it'd be kind of irresponsible, just by ourselves to go out that close to bears.
I never go by myself. I always have a guide, and I always
professional like bear guides. There's a whole skill level there. So that's another thing. It's dangerous just to
And I have to say, good for you for being brave enough. Like, considering you came from a place where there's not really like all these types of bears, it's just like, hey, I want to like get close and take pictures of bears. Most people don't do that. Like, good for you for being brave enough, respecting them. And like, it sounds like you two go together.
Sometimes, sometimes it drags me in. I'm painting very close to bears, kind of very interesting. And sometimes I'll bring her on a painting trip where there is no bears, but there's colors and there's flowers and landscapes. So it crosses over, but we do have our own careers. We do our own thing, but then it's nice to share some of these other things because they cross over. And then for me, a lot of people know me for landscape work, but spending so much time, I learned so much about wildlife from her. It's got me more interested because I was always intimidated by wildlife, but now understanding. So, and likewise, I think the other way around too. So it's nice to have that kind of learn. You always got to be learning, keep it fresh, right? It gets boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is you can't always learn it all. So that's why like there's people like you out there. I'm interviewing you to learn more.
And I could never see the animals in the past because I never had the lenses. Now I borrow her lens and I can see the thing.
It's like, hey,
oh, man.
there we go.
Okay.
Look at the color in
That's
that slate shade.
Yeah, that's good.
Have you, because you probably paint on the spot or like take her pictures and paint that. What's like been the coolest painting that you've ever done, do you think?
Well, I have several favorite paintings,
That's
but
fair.
I think one of my favorite paintings is called Surfacing, and it was a painting. It had a lot of attention back in 2018, and it was in Spitsbergen, which is high Arctic islands north of Norway.
Whoa.
And there's some beautiful ice around. We were up some of the biggest the ice glacier face up there. I can't remember the name of that place, but we were up there and it was just absolutely quiet. And we saw a polar bear on ice way over there, and it just came right up to our boat and circled us for quite a while and stayed. And really, there was no fear. He was just curiosity. He was not stressed. And it was the most beautiful, transparent water, and you could see through the water and then the ice. And that stayed with me. And that combination of ice and seeing into it with the swimming polar bear was probably one of my favorite ever paintings. And it came together very,
and that memory
through. So you're sketching on location, and then you go back, and then the combination of the photographs, the video, the memory, and put it together. So when a painting almost paints itself, like the bear walks right into it, like Daisy says, be there, and then it all happens. Like that was, why does it doesn't happen every year, and it's so you slog it out, you try to create these other paintings, and they just, they're good, but occasionally we'll have a winner, So that was my lucky story, Photography is the same thing, I guess. For you.
Yeah.
You must have to be so patient, like to get that right shot, like sitting forever.
Yeah.
The nice thing is you're outside, you're like the fresh air. Like I love how you guys are always going for nature things and like what an amazing way to spend your time.
Yeah, it's great. And you learn so much from nature and from the animals themselves. And especially bears. Bears do what bears do, they're really funny. I mean,
It's so true.
They do stuff that you just laugh, and it's so nice to be among them because I don't know. So quite often people ask me, "Are you not afraid?" Right? Because there is always that thing. But really, when I'm among bears, I just feel they have such an incredible energy, and they're so relaxed. And it's 20 years that I'm photographing bears. I really only had 2 episodes where I've been like in a situation where the bear was a bit stressed out and he reacted.
That's fair.
But there is, talking about fatalities, there is much more fatalities with dogs killing humans than bears, and that's the 3 species of North American bears. So,
and people don't think that way.
No,
like,
people don't think that way at all.
It's a big scary thing with teeth, like
exactly. And I'm totally not telling you to treat a bear like a dog.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
It's like, come here, buddy, I got a little treat for you. Let me pet you.
But knowing their behaviors and knowing how and then of course there is always the one that is not behaving as all the
we've
bears
had some terrible things happen recently here.
Yeah,
so
it's just, I think, paying respect and keep the distances, and
it's like anything unpredictable too.
Yeah.
But,
that is so true, and I love all these things. And like when you get stressed out in those moments, like maybe the bear is acting up, what do you do, like to calm yourself down, or like to like?
Well, first of all, it's really happened twice in my life, and it's you retreat slowly. You make yourself say, hey, I'm here, I don't, you make yourself.
I'm just gonna go away
very
now.
Big, and I'm backing off. I'm leaving your space, and as soon as you leave the space, they're fine. Really is it's. I'm not really. I don't want to feel like they're really not dangerous, because they are dangerous animals. But if you keep the respect, like everything, then they respect yourself as well.
That is really cool. And because My boyfriend's name is actually Bear. I'm gonna need a fun fact to
Bear?
tell him later. Yeah, that's my boyfriend's name.
That's
I'm
funny.
gonna need like a fun fact.
Yeah.
Bear.
So I can poke him later and be
cool
like,
name.
so, did you
Yeah.
know bears?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's nice.
you have to tell him to stop eating meat.
Oh,
say,
there
yeah,
you go. No more for
A
you.
bear only eat 20% of the diet.
Hey, there we go. It's just, I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's some berries.
Yeah, exactly. Even some sedge.
Oh, there we go. Here's some
Grass,
roots.
yeah.
And good to go.
Yeah.
And because I'm also going to be doing some more commissions in watercolor, I want to hit you up for some advice
Yeah.
before we have to go here.
Yeah, sure.
So I already asked you about like my watercolors. They poor little things have been bubbling up, and like you said, wet on wet or pressing them down. And do you mind re-explaining like to the audience, because they didn't hear that before, like how like you stop the watercolor pieces from bubbling, or even your process doing this? You were telling me earlier about the techniques, and like when people are just starting out, like there's so many little techniques you can do, and you love teaching. I can just feel like, your energy.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think someone said is the first thing you got to master water. You know, a lot of it is, you know, water. Most thing is about gravity is one of the constants. You know, gravity is always going to go down. So a little tilt. I always like a little tilt on it. So it has somewhere to go, and then you're drawing it out. You can pull that water and move it. A lot of people put too much water on the brush, and then the color.
Guilty as charged.
And then, you know, so the water is going all over the place. So it's a little more, and also spending time and mixing the paint, like mixing the right, you know, enough paint, enough saturation colors. So when you put it into that water, if there's water on the page, then it's going to go in the paper. A lot of people will keep putting their brush in the water. So I have a exercise I'm always doing is, you know, it's called the wet and wet technique, and just learning to just always, you know, go in and pick up more pigment, not more water, or you're going to wash all that good work you just did away.
Yeah.
And then it's buckling and all that. So it's just a little more time looking at the shape and the color before you put the brush on, but actually mix the color, a little more time that way. So when you hit the paper, it's a little more accurate. That's one thing. Yeah.
That's a good tip.
And simplifying the tools. I often find I teach people to paint, you know, a lot just using one or two brushes. So you're not, you know, it's like anything in life. Like if you really get the feel of that one particular tool, or a couple of them, to not too many things, and also very limited palette. So I really mix all of my colors from almost the three primaries, just a few. So all the shades of blue just come from variations of those, and like the violets, I don't use too much violet paint, but I mix it with red and blue. So I like color that's really fresh, you know. So yeah,
And I can just tell
few
looking at
things.
your artwork, it pops out. And like when you mean wet on wet, like you're telling me at one point you wet the whole page, but like to get the mountain, do you like wet this and then come in with the color?
Oh, it's a great,
Yeah.
like if I show you this
You
piece
actually
here.
walk me through your
Yeah,
piece.
so
Yeah,
this
your thought
particular
process.
piece, like if I'm doing a workshop on this one here, and it starts out with what's called an underpainting. So I soak the whole thing, and I put a very light bath. What is the lightest light color? With watercolor, you're working from light to dark, right? There's no white paint or opaque. So the lightest light you see here is a very light violet with yellow beside it. Not if you mix them, they go gray, but you juxtaposition those colors, you get this vibration of light, like Turner's, the great watercolor, the Impressionist. So you bathe the whole thing in a very light, so that when you do that, it's already here. But I make sure I don't get any yellow in here, because when I put the blue on, I'll have green. I don't
That's
want green.
true.
So when I do that, I'm bathing this with a very light violet, which shows up there. Here I put more. So this is just underpainting. And then I let that dry. And then the next shape is this whole shape here. And you can see the next value is this. And then this particular piece is done what's called wet and wet on dry. So I just wet the cloud shape here. I don't use any masking fluid. I'm a very traditional kind of, like not traditional, but I like the purity of just painting the shape. So here, I don't know if you can see in the videos, yeah, it's not too shiny. get the plastic on. But this is a painting within a painting. So I wet that whole part, and I have these pre-mixed colors, and I drop them in, they stick, because it's not too watery.
Yeah.
And then this shape, and then let that dry, and then this is on top of that. And that's beauty transparent. You can walk darker on top of each other. Inevitably, you know, it's very abstract, and it looks complicated, but it's actually just 3 or 4 values as shapes. And that's it. So it takes a while to get there, but you can see that pinky kind of soft violet hue and from the underpainting shows, and that's what gets this glow here, is having that building up. So you let it dry or have a hair dryer, you know, if you're... If I'm on site and like if it's sunny or something, what I do is then I turn the paper so against the sun, let it dry like that. But this is the evening, this is sunrise, yeah. So this was just breaking light just over Mount Rundle, just breaking. So when I did the underwash, then I would just put that into the sun, and I have to memorize the rest of it. In this case, the original, this is a print, the original was a studio painting I did afterwards. Yeah, so that's a few things.
This is stunning, and like,
thanks.
It reminds me of a lot like watercolor style of a Ukrainian egg where you work backward. And I love the thought process you put into. Like, you had to think where you want
negative
the
shape.
light color.
Yeah, it's negative.
Yeah.
This is called negative shape painting. So this was actually, these are all the very first value. And what you're doing is you're painting around and you're letting the light come from within. That's what I like about, there's something about watercolor, the light comes from inside out. It has this kind of glow, which is really appropriate for atmospheric of landscapes that include this vapor and morning mist rising, reflections of water in the atmospheres of that. Soft. I like watercolors for its ability to have soft edges, but absolutely crisp hard edges when you want them. It takes a bit of skill, like time to figure that out. But so, you know, I like other painters, like oil painters and that, but this can be done very quickly and try to capture anyway. Sometimes they don't work out.
That's fair.
I think you know, watercolor can humble the
hard.
greatest, you know, whatever of artists. But anyway, thanks for your interest in that one.
I am really interested. Like, seriously, like, as soon as Lee told me that you guys were coming, and I'm just like, yes, people I can chat. Like, this is so cool. Like, about photography, about watercolor, which I'm currently struggling with.
Oh, that's
like,
a wonderful path. It's a wonderful path.
It really is, and I'm just like so like jaw dropped by this, and like I haven't really seen your photography, but I'm sure I'd be like asking questions, be like, how do you get that light? How do you get that angle? Like so many little things, and like, do you like post the raw pictures or do you edit them or like?
Well, I'm shooting raw files, so I need to edit a little bit before I post everything. But I consider myself a purist. I don't like to spend much time in computer. I'd rather be outside in front of the bear or in nature taking picture of beautiful things.
She probably has some stuff in some of these books here. I should have looked at it because she's so widely published.
This was probably even your picture before you painted it.
Oh, well.
No, he's also a good photographer. When we met, he was a lazy photographer.
And then you met her and she's just like, hold on, you gotta like adjust this. And
I was so bad.
Well, you know, sometimes artists, they go out and take pictures and they just snapshots and they say, oh, it's just a reference.
That's all I was doing.
And so my point, if you start with a good reference,
then
you know you are halfway through.
Yeah.
And now is usually a night owl, doesn't like to wake up early in the morning, but the good light is in the morning. So now I start to understand that it pays off to wake up early and get the light.
Ding, 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 ding.
And then you can go back to sleep afterwards.
Absolutely.
I love how you two play off each other. It's just like, hold on, you need references or have you thought about this? And then you're looking at the color of it. Like, I love the teamwork back and forth.
Yeah, actually, you do pick up, you notice things. If I hear the shutter clicking like crazy, whoa,
What's going on?
Click, click.
But sometimes she has no idea what's he seeing there, and then it helps.
Because he's more a landscape. He has a really good eye for landscape, but I'm the wildlife girl, so we complement each other quite a bit. And sometimes I see him taking picture, and I'll go like, okay, let me see what you're doing, because I don't see anything that really appeals to me. And then I see his composition, like, I didn't see that coming.
One thing I find really cool when I go on a trip or something is I always take pictures. But I'm always interested in the history, the art, and the food, or maybe my friend's interested in the people or something like that. So when we compare notes and show each other's pictures, it's like, whoa, I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
everyone has a different eye, what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
And I can totally relate to you two about that. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great because really, even when we go on trips and we teach workshops, I always force everybody to download at night, and everybody we comment and we review the images because everyone sees things in totally different ways. And
That's a
it's very
brilliant
important
idea.
to inspire each other by looking at other people's work. Yeah.
I agree with that, and it's so cool, the things you learn.
Yeah.
And before we have to go, is like, where can people find if they want to look you up or ask you questions? Like me, as soon as Lee told me you're coming, you're just like, I'm gonna ask them in person. This is amazing.
Yeah. Well, the best thing is social media and website. So
I'll link them down below.
yeah.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. So you want to plug yourself? So.
Well, we are very active on Instagram. Daisy Gilardini, just my name and family name, and my website.
And
Daisy
she's the
Gilardini.
only one, which is super cool. You
Exactly.
won't get mixed up.
You won't go wrong. There's only one Daisy Gilardini. And if you wonder about my name, I'm coming from Switzerland, from the Italian-speaking part. So
Wow.
my origins are Italian.
I didn't even know there's an Italian part till you told me.
Yeah,
I was like, this is
a lot of people don't know.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
find me there.
And Can Geo, she's a Canadian Geographic photographer in residence, published in National Geographic. I mean, you see her stuff all over. That was the thing when we were first dating. We go into bookstores, and I go to the book market. I say, "You're not in any." Oh yeah, I'm in this one. I'm in this one.
She's like, hold on, this
Just
is
like,
fine.
just dig at me, So there's a little competition going. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, building it up. I love the
But I like
competitiveness.
social media is really a good thing. Like our websites, and maybe you share them later, is a great way. But emails are slow. But Instagram is really good. Facebook's good. So in my case, it's davidmcewan.com. That's how you pronounce the spelling of McEwan, but it's a stranger spelling. But David McEwan, Instagram, David McEwan, Facebook, or davidmcewan.com, and see, there's a lot of video of painting. Like you see on my website, there's a video section which has a lot of where I'm actually painting on location.
Whoa.
Actually from all over the place. A lot of penguins and polar bears, if you're interested. And it's...
And probably bears, thanks to her.
Loves
Yeah.
bears.
Loves bears, yes.
Loves bears.
The
A lot
blog-
of penguins too.
Yeah, there's a blog section, and the blog goes way back. You can follow it in the archives back and see some of these stories we talked about.
Wow, that is really incredible. And now after you telling me that you got like your pictures and books and stuff, how do you like get even in there or get people to like, do they reach out to you or do you reach out to them or both?
Well, it's 20 years that I'm doing polar stuff, and so you get known for what is your work.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
and so I work with Nat Geo. I'm on contributor for Nat Geo Traveler and Nat Geo Wild, and so all the people that are in history book could be even video now, and start doing more video. That's a good reference, and then they come to you, and they ask.
Yeah,
I started with stock agencies. I started
Yeah.
stock agencies like 10 years ago.
Wow.
That's how it started, and but then
And now look
then
at
your
you
name
two.
is out, and
Takes a
then
long
people
time,
knows what
yeah.
you're doing, and so they come to you.
That's incredible. And thank you so much for like coming in and chatting me up, even though it's your anniversary, like seriously.
Thank
and
you.
for anyone watching today, you gotta check them out. Like these two are amazing and so cool.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for your interest. Yeah, we'll always come back. This is an
Yeah.
amazing place.
Yeah.
I would love that. If you ever come back, I'm gonna hit you up. I might be like, hey, can we do some watercolor together or photography? I just
Yeah.
want to learn more.
Next time maybe we'll have some stuff we just did. We just got here, so we don't get any
That's
new.
true.
But next time, yeah.
Hey, you did bring this, so I was actually able to hold it up the whole time. And I'm shocked that I wasn't like wavering. Like last time I was outside, the mosquitoes were biting me as we were filming. I'm just like trying to hold it up.
That's funny. Yeah.
Oh, thanks everyone for watching.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
Thanks for your interest.
Show, Bam, show.
Show Banff Show.
Show, Bam, show.
Banff Show.
Expanding our community.